The four Democrats running for governor met for their final debate this week in suburban Cincinnati. Richard Cordray, Dennis Kucinich, Bill O'Neill, and Joe Schiavone met in Middletown. Their disagreements largely are on the edges of the issues, while they all support tighter gun restrictions like tougher background checks, and two of the candidates support banning assault-style weapons, while two do not.
I intend to break that cycle of corruption that the NRA has sponsored in Columbus and ban assault weapons, and I'm the only candidate running statewide who's willing to say that.
At the end of the day, as governor, I would sign a ban on assault weapons.
If you want to own an assault weapon in Ohio, then you're going to have to take it down, in my opinion, to your local chief of police once a year and register it.
There are other things that are more immediately achievable that we can do working with the legislature.
Ray Miller, so there you have it. Joe Schiavone, Dennis Kucinich support the assault-style weapons ban. Bill O'Neill, Richard Cordray, not so much. Will it be a deciding factor in this race, do you think?
I wouldn't call it a deciding factor, but Rich Cordray is going to have to really hone that message and be as clear as he possibly can be as he's out on the stump and as he's dealing with editorial boards and so forth. Right now, what he's saying is not going to be acceptable, largely within inner city areas in particular, maybe even other areas of the state. On style, I think you have to be who you are. Unfortunately, Dennis Kucinich is even in the race, but you have to be who you are. And so Rich's style is not electric. It's not going to turn anybody on, but you don't try to change that midstream.
If I was writing a headline, I'd say that Rich Cordray was, quote, sticking to his guns. I mean, at one point in the debate, he was almost repeating the NRA talking points on, in his view, the small number of people killed by rifles versus the larger number covered by pistols. And that is the NRA talking point, but I was surprised that he's doubled down on the defense of the gun position with a Democrat primary coming up.
Of course, if he were to switch, Lori, he'd be labeled a flip-flopper and just pandering to the far left, and that would cost him in a general should he advance to that general.
Right, and there are videos out there of him defending the Second Amendment right as God-given right to self-defense, and so I don't know how he could backtrack on it.
Daryl, this is their last debate. It's the last time we're going to see all four candidates on the stage. We are seeing ads now. Richard Cordray's out with a largely positive ad. Elizabeth Warren is in town this week to campaign for him. This race will start to heat up in the final weeks, actually, as voting has begun.
I was going to say, as we talk, the polls are open. People are casting ballots in this race. It's being decided right now. TV is going to decide a lot more. I mean, a lot more people are going to see these ads than saw that debate the other night. I mean, you may see a clip or two from it, but I don't know what the viewership was, but I can't imagine it's too high. And, a primary turnout is going to be low. So it's, some of the factors that Laura cited are there, especially in a Democratic primary, because those are all groups that are ardent Democrats. And that includes the gun regulation crowd. So, yeah, Rich Cordray still has some splaining to do, I think, to a lot of folks. And he can't backtrack too much or, it's a real dilemma for him.
As I watched the debate, they had a little counter on the side, and I think at one point it got up to 286 people watching it on the web. It didn't have a big viewership, but clearly it's to be determined.
Well, it was on local TV in Cincinnati. It was on. Oh, okay. I don't know what the numbers were. But
yeah, and then one candidate didn't even know what the Brent Spence Bridge was.
Oh, that was Bill O'Neill.
Which was pretty dumb for that part of the state to not know that.
We'll get to that in a moment, but Ray, Dennis Kucinich is putting his faith in young voters to help him in this primary. Do young voters vote in midterm primary elections?
I've not looked at those numbers in a while, but I think that the turnout would be extremely low. Maybe a little higher than normal because of the shootings and so forth that's taking place across the country, but it's going to be very low.
And the feedback I've gotten from some Board of Elections people in different counties, when they started out mailing out the ballots this week, there weren't many to mail out because there weren't many requests. So I think voter interest, part of it is a lot of people, the last primary we had was in 2016, was in March. Sometimes they've been in June. Right. I mean, it's confusing to people when the primary is.